I spent the last couple of years chasing the dream of becoming a content creator, and I failed. Before we get into any of that, I just want to preface that I don't feel like I necessarily failed technically, because I also feel like I haven't even really started. You see, this all goes back to 2019 when I posted my first YouTube video. And at the time, I recently just moved back to my parents' place after living in Australia trying to figure out my life. I was no longer the kid that just flunked out of biomedical engineering. I actually had some sense of direction where I wanted the rest of my life to go. I knew I wanted to do something creative, but I also didn't know what that exactly looked like. I just knew that at the time I loved making videos and I loved watching YouTubers create content online. At this point in time, I saw them grow and create channels that allowed them to live out the dreams that they've always wanted to achieve. Similarly, I also wanted to follow suit. Now, would these videos be cinematic masterpieces like my favorite creators? Definitely no, but it was a step in the right direction. I had to overcome the concept of being cringe. I had to learn how to talk to a camera, how to film with a camera out in public, and how to use a camera for the very first time. And ultimately, I sucked. I really sucked. I thought I knew how to use it. At the time, I assumed I was really good, but clearly from the footage that you can see here, obviously it was not. So I continued to learn and build my skills, and eventually I got a little bit better. But that was when the pandemic hit. Needless to say, getting stuck inside for months on end wasn't the best for my creativity. I do have to say that it did help with my process of creating videos, more so on the post-production side. So I definitely got better at making videos as an editor. So I slowly chipped away at getting better at editing and slowly built up a part-time freelancing business. I still managed to get some work, actually pretty phenomenal at the time considering the circumstances. I eventually started making YouTube videos for them, and eventually I started taking more ownership in their creative process. Here's where the pitfall starts to take shape. You see, I was so focused on building other people's pages, their YouTube channels, their social media pages, that eventually my own personal brand would start to move onto the back burner. I would get a new client, and whatever project I had going for YouTube or Instagram, I would automatically drop that. This definitely happened more than once, especially when I decided to go full-time with freelancing after quitting my 9-to-5 sales job. I started prioritizing client work even more, which makes sense, bills needed to get paid, but I would start to prioritize them even more than I said I would compared to my personal projects. At the time, yes, I would go on these wild, amazing adventures. I would also take on projects that allowed me to go off to foreign countries. And in the same breath, I would often neglect my own personal brand and set aside videos that I had planned months ahead. Even on this channel, I haven't posted a proper YouTube video in over a year. I've gone through these cycles multiple times where I've put off or stopped making videos for my YouTube channel. I stopped creating videos that I wanted to create, trying to make a living from freelancing work, but ultimately letting this mindset creep back into other facets of my life. Take, for example, some of my past relationships. I invested a lot of time and energy into trying to make those things work when I ultimately neglected things like my finances. The time investment into the things that weren't the best decision, surprise, surprise, tended to bite me in the ass. As a result, I put myself into a lot of debt, into a lot of heartbreak, and I ultimately, again, neglected the thing that I really wanted to do because I got so distracted by all of these other things. This also set me back even further than I should have been when trying to make progress with this YouTube channel, when trying to make progress with my personal brand, making videos and just creating as a whole. This shortened the runway that I had to go off and just do my own thing. Now, if you think about it, we're about 4 to 5 years down the line since we started this journey, even further back than where we initially were when we first set this goal. And essentially that summarizes what's happened over the last couple of years. When I say that I failed as a content creator, this is what I mean. Now, instead of freelancing a bunch of random jobs, I am back at the beginning with a full-time job again. You may be asking, Alex, why are you making this YouTube video? It's both to serve as a reintroduction to this channel and to serve as an accountability step for what this next chapter of my journey is going to look like. Because if I don't actually start taking action to doing the thing that I actually want to do, it's just never going to happen. So if I don't end up actually posting a YouTube video and saying that I want to become a YouTuber and staying consistent with it, the momentum for what is needed to become a full-time content creator, that's just never gonna happen. I want to be creating again, but I also want to be creating on my own terms. I'm already 31 and I don't want to be 10 years down the line into my 40s still living in someone else's shadow, helping them create their own creative dreams while I neglected mine. What can you expect from this channel moving forward? Definitely I'm going to be sharing a couple story times, but I'm also going to dive deeper into some other facets of my life that I feel like I haven't really shared on this channel. I do want to get into more cinematic content, but I also want to explore the filmmaking side of it. What's the thought process behind it? I'll be teaching you guys everything that I've learned from the last 5 years or so being a freelance videographer and filmmaker that's traveled all around the world, all from a perspective of someone who's worked with channels with millions of subscribers from over the last couple of years. But I'll also share some thoughts around my current lifestyle. So this is me ripping off the band-aid and saying, hey YouTube, we're back.